Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to True Talk Tuesday, where I give you the real deal on everything lately, it seems like. Tonight we are going to return to something that we have been doing. We've been doing once a month, and if you've been following for a while, you know what that is. Tonight is numbers night. Last month, I believe we had so many guests come on that I didn't get to last month. So, unfortunately, not have the April to May side by side, but we do have March to May. Also, if you've been following along for a while, you know that we get our numbers a little bit delayed. So in the month of June, around 16th or 17th, we would get May. And next in July, we'll get June. So we're kind of looking at things that have already happened, and that's good. That's what we want to know so that way we can plan our future. All right. As always, if you're here, say hello in the comments and let me know if you've got any questions at all. I am I have been doing crazy stuff lately, and one of the things that I would like to talk about tonight is also how this market is being affected and how we're seeing appraisals come in a little a little lower than what we thought we were going to see. Um, so I want to talk about why we're seeing that and what's going on with that. But first, let's do our numbers. Again, if you're new here, by the way, Shalisa Muehlberger, it's right there on the screen. Central Florida realtor with S&D Real Estate Services. I specialize in first-time homebuyers and people that are sizing down, empty nesters, because I'm an empty nester. But I help anybody and everybody do whatever they want to do as far as real estate. So if you've got any questions during this show, feel free to say whatever your question is. Yadziel, hey, how are you? Yadziel, by the way, is a great agent to know over at Hawthorne Ranch, the DR Horton Homes. I've been working a deal with him, and it's been a pleasure. All right, Yadziel, an absolute pleasure. I can text this man at like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, which I only did once. I don't even know if I did, but he would absolutely answer me back. So if you're out there, say hello to him, please. All right. So the numbers for tonight. Let's look at what March looked like. All right. I'm going to pull up March on the screen so that way you can see what March looked like. And this was for all of the state of Florida. Tonight we're going to look specifically at Lakeland's numbers. All right. But all of the state of Florida, what we were looking at closed sales in all of the state of Florida, we had about 24,000, 500 almost closed sales. We had 51 days to contract, which was kind of crazy, right? We also were seeing median prices across the state at 420. We were seeing median percentage of original list price. So in other words, how close were you getting to that list price? Because if we see 100% of the time sellers are getting what they're asking for, we definitely know that it's in a seller's market right now, right? Well, as of March across the state of Florida, that was happening about 95% of the time. That's not necessarily a buyer's market, but it's not necessarily a seller's market either. Okay. Month supply of inventory. Again, we had a little under 5 months of inventory, and new listings were 32,000. Now, I'm going to take that off and we're going to look at May for Lakeland. All right. May for Lakeland. Thank you, Yadziel. Yes, I cannot wait to close our amazing buyers as well. That one's going to be a special one for me. Absolutely special one. Guys, my former students come to me to help buy their first homes, and when I get to do that, it's very special, and I have done that quite a few times. So if you're a former student of mine and you're thinking about it, y'all, I got you. All right. All right. So in Lakeland for the month of May, we had about 369 properties that were active. We had seen about 97 closed sales in the month of May. Now, the median percentage of original list price, this is higher than what all the state of Florida saw for the month of March, right? We're seeing here in Lakeland It's almost 98%. 98% of sellers are seeing what they want, right? They're getting what they want as far as what they have listed the house for. That's pretty good. Median time to contract was 40 days. I believe March for Lakeland was 36. So we've gone up a little bit more time in how long it takes us for us to list a home to have it under contract. That being said, I will say as of about 3 weeks now, I have seen multiple properties have multiple offers. All right. We are seeing properties also go go in that they've been on the market for over 100 days, and then all of a sudden they have 3 offers on them. So things are changing toward a seller's market, and we'll go further into that. But you also see that there's still things that here, I'm going to bring this up real quick so that way we can go back over that. I don't know if you can see that. That's so tiny, isn't it? That is so tiny. Can I do that? I don't know if that worked. I don't know if that made it better. All right. So what we're looking at here on the screen is my cheat sheet, right? How do I look at these numbers and interpret whether or not they are a buyer's market or seller's market? And when we're looking at active inventory and like list price ratio, days on the market, we're still in a balanced market because we're at 40 days on the market, right? Um, Sale price to list price ratio, we're still in a balanced market because even though we're at 98%, we are definitely not at 100%, which makes us a seller's market. Active inventory trend, if it's shrinking inventory, and I did see it shrink, all right? So since it's shrinking, that means that's a seller's market. That's why we're starting to see multiple offers because there's less inventory out there, right? And price direction, whether or not the seller is getting their market price or is it going down. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but I want to make sure that we get the basic numbers out of the way. There are things that I think are pushing prices down, and then there are things that I look at and I'm like, okay, that's pushing prices up. So we're going to get to that in just a bit. But this is also something that you're going to see on my Facebook page if you follow my business account, and you might see this go on my Instagram as well. But this right here is just a quick here's the numbers, right? Here's the numbers that you really, really care about. Again, remember I showed you the months of inventory. It's going down. Since it's going down, that tends to mean that we're in a seller's market. You're going to get, if you are a seller, you're going to have hopefully seeing multiple offers come in. And that depends on a lot of different things. And it depends on whether or not your realtor has set you up with a good strategy or not, right? Okay. Sold to list price, it's not 100%, so that's still a balanced market. We just said that, right? Median days on market, 30 to 50 days is a balanced market. We're still in a balanced market. Median sold price, though, we're seeing that go up. And that's where we're going to start talking about something that I find very interesting. All right. Hey, Patsy. Hey, Gail. I'm so glad you both made it. I see Patsy waving, and then Gail's like, I made it. Yeah. So I'm going to move this off of the screen. There we go. All right. So one of the things that I have seen lately, and I've talked to other agents, and other agents are seeing the same things, is that we have run comps, and comps are comparables. When we go to help you price your home when you're selling your home, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to look at and research a lot of different homes in the area that are active, that have sold, and are pending, right? They've got contracts. They're not sold yet, but they're under contract, right? We're going to look at these houses and we're going to try to find one that looks the most like yours, right? And we'll do some fine calculations depending on what maybe those, we call them subject. You're the subject and object houses, right? So depending, we might adjust the numbers either or. But we take a lot of time to do this, and we are constantly out getting contracts and doing research and going to open houses. We're we're in the market. So most of the time, what happens is we feel very confident that we are very close to what the appraiser is going to say, right? The appraiser is going to give value on that house. So we feel pretty confident that we're close to that. Sometimes we're off, right, by a few thousand, hopefully not, right? And when we are off, we hope that it's in the benefit of our side, right? If it's our buyers, if I'm representing the buyers and the listing agent undervalued the house by like 30,000, that's awesome. That's awesome, right? My buyers just walked into a house with equity of like 30,000. But if it's my sellers, oh, not gonna be happy about that, right? We're not gonna be happy about that. Well, we're seeing a lot of houses changing between the time we do comps until they get sold, and they're being appraised at a lot lower value. And we're trying to fight those appraisals either way. That is affecting the median price. All right. That is why you're seeing this weird, like some months it'll go up, some months it'll go down. But I want to say what I've been hearing about the unexpected appraisals have only been for a month now. The whispers in the wind for about a month now. Um, and I'm working on a current deal that has had that happen, and it sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun at all, but, we still try to figure it out. By the way, if you're buying a house, right, and your appraisal comes in under your list price. So you've said, "I'm gonna purchase this house for 250,000," right? And the appraiser comes in and goes, I think the house is worth 225, right? That's what my professional opinion as an appraiser, because appraisers have to go through all kinds of school and learning, and they know their stuff, all right? Um, they are gonna look at it and go, it's 225, right? If you are on the buyer side, now you cannot get a loan for 250, right? The lender says, the house is 225. That's what the appraiser said. It's 225. So now you're going to either have to give $25,000 into it in order to have the house at what the seller wants to sell it at, or the seller is going to have to eat $25,000, right? That's a lot. That's a lot. So there is this renegotiation of what's going to happen, because if the appraisal does come in under and you as the buyer has asked for seller concessions, well, now they might not be able to give you those concessions. So it's very important that as a realtor, I'm listening to everything that's happening. I'm looking at all the appraisals. I'm constantly doing my numbers like this. I am looking at hot sheets. Hot sheets, by the way, are, what is being sold, how's it, how many days, all kinds of good stuff for me to know, right? I'm constantly every day looking at those numbers so that way I can make sure I can get this right. But that's affecting the way things are being sold right now. And there's a lot of reasons why people think that. Hey, Marshall! Oh my goodness. Jennifer. Hey, how are you? See, I was in the zone. I was talking about stuff that I'm trying to make sure also I have personal opinions of this, and I never want to give you my personal opinion. I want to make sure that I'm giving you professional opinion. There's a difference, right? It was like when I was a teacher. I love Beowulf. Beowulf, it's one of my favorite stories to tell. I would get into like reading it out loud, so much so that I actually tore a hamstring. That's a story for another day. But I loved it, right? I loved it. And there were reasons why I loved it that had nothing to do with why we're going to read it in class. So I had to always keep my professional opinions about the information that was given to you, but my personal opinion was always separate from my profession. So I keep that with real estate. I will not give you my personal opinions on why I think something's happening. I will give you my professional opinion, and my professional opinion is based on whatever data I have been able to look at. All right. And that's just me being super Right side, left side brain. All right. That's it. All right. So, what kind of market are we in right now? Well, there are instances, and we were teasing, another agent and I were teasing, it's a feast or famine right now. There are some properties that when we put them on the market, within a weekend, we're getting offers on it, right? And that's awesome. Um, but then we have some other properties that get put on the market and you know that they're priced in the right range. You've done everything that you're supposed to do, but they're still kind of sitting there. So it's this feast or famine. What I am seeing is that between the 200,000 and like 350 range for homes, those are the ones that they're getting picked up pretty quickly, right? Because those are the houses that people can afford, right? Okay. So I'm seeing those get picked up pretty quickly. So if you're thinking of selling your house and your house falls within that range, like, I don't want it to sit forever, there's a good chance it's not, right? We just need to get in and look at it and see what we need to do in order to make sure that that doesn't happen. Buyers, right now, I will say that's their range of buying power. If you've got a house that's 400,000 and above, now that's going to sit a little bit longer. Why? Because not everybody can afford a house that much, especially with the interest rates going weird. I did get told that there's optimism, a lot of optimism that interest rates are going to go down soon. So I'm excited by that, but it was a lot of optimism. But that's the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. So as sellers, if you fall in the 200 to 350 range, yep, go ahead, get in there. All right, now's your time. All right, now's your time. Buyers, what I'm seeing for you guys, yes, that interest rate is a little weird right now, right? And we're looking at it's going to go down. I always tell everybody, we marry the house, we date the rate, right? I always have to get that right because my brain wants to say it too fast. Interest rates will be what interest rates are going to be, right? But the house that you want might not always be there. So that's why I say, if you have the ability, go for it now, right? Go ahead and get in there. Your time period of having everything, I don't think it was a couple months ago, right? Now, some sellers are giving concessions. I still see that consistently with my buyers getting concessions, but then I have sellers that absolutely refuse to give concessions. So I'm on both sides of this. I see both sides. And I see where sellers, it just depends on what they need out of it. That's really what it is how much do they need out of it and whether or not they can give you concessions or not. So if you're asking for concessions, then we do need to have some type of strategy going in to make sure that it is conducive for the seller too. All right. That's what we're going to do. But right now, it depends on your house. Depends on what you're going to do. Like, I know that's not the answer everybody wants. You want a cut and dry answer from me. And the part of having a neutral market means I cannot give you that cut and dry answer. I can't. I can tell you we lean to sellers right now. We saw the numbers for that, right? And I can tell you we're getting multiple offers in on things. And there's a reason for that. We don't have a whole lot of inventory, right? But buyers, the moment that sellers go, oh, this is our market, this is our time, and they start entering the market, then all of a sudden there's more inventory, right? There's more to choose from. Now there's not multiple offers. So don't give up. Don't think, oh, I'm not doing it now. You should absolutely be looking now, right? You should absolutely be looking now. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Because I see a lot of people on tonight, and I got Hayes. So Hayes are good too. You can say hi. You can say hi. By the way, if you are looking here in Lakeland, I do have 2 properties. My little links in the description, which I'll have to put on post live because I just realized I did not put my live links on. But the link in my description and actually the QR code that you see up here in the corner, you can scan that QR code and it will take you to my digital card, and my digital card will allow you to see what I have listed. So absolutely go see that, right? Um, I think that's it for tonight. Is it? Okay, next week. Next week I am going to be bringing on a female Lakeland business owner. We're going to keep it a little surprise. I'm going to be teasing it out. All right. But I will be bringing on another female business owner here in Lakeland because, like I said before, I really would like to start showcasing some of our local businesses. They contribute to our market, they are the ones that are helping buy these houses. So let's talk about them, right? Let's introduce some people. There are businesses that I didn't even know were here, and I have lived here all my life. All right. Okay, me living here all my life is a weird question too, because yes, I've lived here all my life. My grandparents have lived here all my life, so I've been in and out of Lakeland. I've also lived in Immokalee, Florida. So I had a my parents were divorced. Okay, guys, that's it. That's why. But I've lived in Lakeland all my life to where I remember when J.C. Penney's was downtown. All right, that's how old I am. But um, I want to see some local businesses that maybe I don't know, right? I want to introduce them to you, and I want to talk about anything that makes their heart happy so that way we get to know who they are. All right. And next Tuesday, you will see one of the female business owned here in Lakeland on this show. All right, my lovelies. All right, my lovelies. Until next time, be happy, be safe, and know that I love you. Because if people can hate for no reason, I can love you for no reason. All right. Next Tuesday, be here.